This is the original gymnasium building, later the Student Union at Pratt, designed by William Tubby, built in 1887. So after the main building was built, that was designed by Lamb and Rich, then this next building, South Hall, which is just to the south of the main building as we look east, was designed by William Tubby. It was built in 1891, and then some extra work was done in 1894. And then the library was also designed by William Tubby, and it was built in 1896. So quite a quadrangle here at the Pratt campus in Clinton Hill. This is the Pratt Institute library, designed by William Tubby, 1897. It's called Renaissance Revival. We'll walk around here and get a better look. Let's just take another look at the library, designed by William Tubby, from the south side. A little brighter on this side. William Tubby, 1896, the Pratt Library in Clinton Hill. This is Charles Millard Pratt's house at 241 Clinton Avenue. And it is now the home of the Bishop of Brooklyn. The different bishops over time. And this is on a block between Willoughby Street and DeKalb Avenue. And it was designed by William Tubby in 1893 in the Romanesque Revival style, and it's regarded as the best example of Romanesque revival in all of New York City. And you can understand why. And 1893 might have been the peak year for Romanesque revival, because that was the same year that there was a World's Fair held in Chicago, the Columbian Exposition, where this style was ruled out in favor of a more classical revival type style. But there were certain architects that favored this style that became the most famous in the US, which would be Louis Sullivan and Frank Lloyd Wright. So we'll just walk through the forest here back to the main arch over the entrance. It seems so quiet. William Tubby, 1893. It's got to be one of his masterpieces. This is the next door neighbor to William Tubby's Charles Millard Pratt house. And I'll have to find out more about it, but it is terrific looking also. Maybe built a little bit later. It looks like very late 1800s or early 1900s. Let me just see if I can get an address on this. There it says it's the Caroline Ladd Pratt house. So the Pratts really dominated the street I heard later on that they tended to move to Manhattan. They moved out of Brooklyn. And I see the thing that indicates the year that this was built. I'll focus in on it. Looks like 1896. Try to record this over the noise of the subway trains going over the Manhattan Bridge, but this is a warehouse designed by William Tubby at 1-15 Adams Street, and it was built in 1891. It's a Romanesque Revival building, and show the arches on the other side of the street. But what a place. Adams Street used to be a street that cut straight through, and then they built the Manhattan Bridge after in the early 1900s, and it sort of slices through. Huh? The trains are constantly going over the Manhattan Bridge above. And this is John Street, straight down that way. What they're using this space for now, I can't tell you, but I do see lights on. And in the summer, I think there's a fair amount of people that come down here to the park right by the river. And as usual, we're walking under scaffolding for something or another. But it's confusing just to find this part of Adams Street, because the rest of Adams Street is on the other side of the bridge. Like these brick buildings here are on Adams Street. It's amazing how little traffic there is in this area. But here's the main entrance. Romanesque Revival with the big arches. And this is actually on Plymouth Street, but the address is Adams. William Tubby, 1891. This is another building designed by William Tubby here in the DUMBO/Vinegar Hill neighborhood. And the date I have is in the early 1900s, and the style of architecture is just described as commercial. And it's right across the street from this massive development on Front Street. It's all new, but it's built to look like loft-style housing. But this is one of 3 factories in this area. Another one is here on Bridge Street. We'll find that one. So this was designed by William Tubby, I believe in like 1908, but it's now been converted to residential. It's beautiful. You look out that way, you can see the Empire State Building, Midtown Manhattan across the river. And here's another look at that big development, 85 J Street. So there's a lot going on, even though it's a sleepy type neighborhood with not that much traffic. William Tubby. Looking at William Tubby's two factories right across the street from each other at the corner of Water Street and Bridge Street in DUMBO. 1895 and 1908 are the two dates I have, but there's also an indication that it could be that both buildings were built in 1895. So he was very busy in this neighborhood. We'll take a look at William Tubby's American Thread Company building from a distance here, just to take it all in, looking through the trees in late December 2020. This is the American Thread Company building at 260 West Broadway, a couple blocks south of Canal Street in Tribeca. We're going to cross Walker Street here, and I love the lower floors with the alternating colored brick. Brick and terracotta. And this building is on the National Register of Historic Places. I'm going to look for a plaque. I don't see one right off the bat, but it's not in the AIA Guide to New York City, which is an exhaustive compendium of significant buildings in all 5 boroughs. And this is now it was a warehouse, now it's a residential loft type building. And they've kept the name over the main entrance. So this was designed and built in 1896. And William Tubby is mostly known for his work in Brooklyn, as well as other places in the Northeast, but this is one of his buildings in Manhattan. I don't know if he has any other ones. Let's just walk around it here, look at some of the detail. I've always admired this building, and now to find out it's designed by one of the 10 or so architects we're featuring for the Brooklyn School of Architecture. It's neat to know that this was designed by one of them. No, I think this is like a modern addition to it, or a different building in the back. It sort of matches. So we'll just see if there's anything more interesting around the other side. And this is also on Beach Street, which is a neat name for a street. I do not think that there are any beaches, though, in Manhattan, at least with any sand. And then this is a little commercial street called St. John's Lane, which most New Yorkers have never heard of. So this is just looking down St. John's Lane at the side of the building, which is still significant. But it just faces out in this little lane, so nobody ever sees it. Anyway, William Tubby, great job. American Thread Company building, right across from the old New York Telephone AT&T building, Art Deco, across West Broadway. Renaissance Revival.